Thank you very much. Just quickly, I will try to make it understand for all the peoples how the parliament in the Pakistan is working. Just as introductory remarks, the supreme legislative body of the Pakistan is the parliament, which consists of two houses: Senate, the upper house, and the National Assembly, the lower house of the parliament. Senate is the upper house of all legislative proposals can be initiated except the money bill. Similarly, the National Assembly is known as the lower house of the parliament. All legislative proposals, including money bill, can be initiated in the Parliament of Pakistan, National Assembly of the Pakistan. Organizational structure, just a quick review of that for the sake of understanding where the automation wing or where the technology is used. We have just a quick review of it, where how the assembly is working on its organogram. This is the National Assembly. First of all, this is the legislation branch. Then comes the committee branch of the assembly. Similarly, international relations or protocol branch. Then administrative branch. Then comes the automation wing under the administration branch. Similarly, library and research wing and special initiative branch. Now, as the core concern is about legislation, then I have focused it only to the extent of legislation and drafting and use of technology by that branch. The organizational structure of legislation branch in Parliament or National Assembly of the Pakistan is that it consists of a purely legislation wing, which performs the functions and the process of the legislation, and other one is the motion branch, question wing, and the auditor of debate and translation wing. This is the whole structure around which the legislation branch works. Then comes the mode of legislation. There are two modes of legislation in Pakistan. First of all, it is through the government, as it is usually done in all other parliamentary systems. The bill is supposed to be introduced by any minister on behalf of the government. Similarly, if some other member other than the government who is not any holding any portfolio of the government, even from the government party or from the opposition treasury or opposition parties, can introduce a bill which is known as the introduction by the private member bill. They can private member bill can also introduce any bill for amendment in the desired law. Working of the legislation branch, how it is working. Initially, if there is a private member bill, then the working starts practically from here. Receipt of the notice along with the bill. If suppose there is a member parliament with the name A, he is interested to introduce a bill, then he will submit the notice in writing before the legislation branch. That notice will be sent to the printing, then for the introduction of the house, and similarly, after introduction in the house, it is forwarded for gazette notification, which is published across the Pakistan. Then after its gazette notification and introduction, the same is referred to the concerned standing committees. Then role of the committees comes across after deliberations and discussion before the committee. The committee formulates its report either in favor of the bill or against the bill, and the same is report is after laying the report, it is notified. That after notification and gazette notification again placed before the house for the passage. If it is passed, then it is transmitted to the other house of the parliament. Because definitely, if it is we are talking about National Assembly, then it is transmitted to the Senate for the passage. And almost same procedure which is being stated for the National Assembly is to be taken care of and to be followed by the Senate. Now comes the role of the Parliament. There are three stages where the members, the Parliaments, has their role to play. Initially, at the stage of introduction of the bill, when the bill has to be introduced before the House, and there requires the proper permission and approval of the House. For that purpose, the MP has to stand and deliberate and place before the House the salient features and main points for introduction of that bill. Similarly, when the same bill is referred before the committee, that member is again called for to attend that meeting and appear before the committee and justify his amendment along with his arguments. And the third stage is when the report of the committee is placed before the House. Then again the bill came for the passage before the house. At that moment, there is another stage when the member stands up before the house and speaks about the salient features and requirements about the for the passage of that amendment. Demands of what are the basically the purpose behind all that procedural mechanism is what the members parliament demands from the secretarial staff support, or especially from my branch if I am working as a drafting head of the National Assembly, then what the issues we are going to face, they, are we have to satisfy the members upon these or that. As there is a bilingual system in the Parliament of Pakistan, because the national language of the Pakistan is Urdu, as well as we also follow the English language. Then majority of the members supposed to demand that the bill or any document which is to be placed before the house or on agenda for that day is to be placed in either some people's demand in English copy, some people's demand Urdu copy. That's why we have to go for double copies of each document which is going to be placed before the house. Most of the members usually insist to provide them hard copy on the pretext that they are not able to use the gadgets. Because if we go to the website of the National Assembly, use of the now come the role of use of the technology. If we go to the website of the National Assembly, when the bill is introduced in the House, when the bill is forwarded to the committee, the same is immediately put up at the national website of the National Assembly. Even being the Secretary Standing Committee on Law and Justice, I also used to forward all these bills and copies to all concerned members which are supposed to attend the meeting through their WhatsApp, through their emails. But even then, they insist for the provision of hard copies due to lack of knowledge and interest in the gadgets. Practically speaking, their excuse in view of their literacy rate of the person seems to be justified to some extent, because number of people either they don't even know about the language of English, or they are unable to use the gadgets and modern technologies. In response to the demands of member parliaments, there are almost 38 standing committees. In addition to that, there are public accounts committees, number of parliamentary committees working in the parliament. All the secretary committees have standing instructions, as the 40s were saying. That there are something which are just followed on the verbal directions of the speaker. That's why there are similarly there are standing instructions from the secretariat that all the agenda items which are to be placed before the standing committee, that should be transmitted to their members through WhatsApp, in addition to provision of the same in the hard copy. Even their system has been developed in the National Assembly that all the intimations about the time, date, and place of the meetings of the committees is also transmitted to the members through their short message system at their cell phones, just to make them aware about that. In addition to that, what we have adopted after pandemic to handle with all these issues is that the provision of connectivity across the, even in the lodges where the members used to live, is also provided free in internet access. Even in the precincts of the National Assembly, free internet access has been provided to all the members, including the staff. The development of the software for all branches or wings of the assembly as per demands and needs is also under process currently. However, the same facility is being used as a pilot project in legislation branch, because there are certain type of question motions which are similar to each other, and for the scrutiny of that, they have developed a software so that once the question is put into software, and then they can analyze either it is the repetition of the earlier one or not. Only to that extent we are going to still use as a pilot project. During and after the COVID, the one thing has developed in the National Assembly that all the committee rooms in the precincts of the parliament have been converted and equipped with all the necessary facilities for conducting of the virtual meetings. A trend of virtual meetings are to join the meeting through Zoom or other applications has been established in the National Assembly. Notice of the meetings containing agenda for the meeting is always available on the official website of the National Assembly. Similarly, orders of the day for the session as well as the dates for which the session is adjourned is also uploaded on the website. All legislative business, private member bills, government bills, the debates of the houses, press releases of the meetings of the committees also uploaded on the website. Website link I have mentioned over here, but due to the paucity of the time, I would not prefer to go over there. But it can be accessed from anywhere and anything if you know to use that website and use the proper technology. It is accessible at any time without help of any person. Common challenges for the starting digital journey in Pakistan perspective, I would like to talk governance system or cultural system because of the literacy ratio and keeping in view the tribal type and rural culture type system in the Pakistan. It does not currently permit to quickly switch over to the or quickly depend on the digitalized system quickly. Similarly, lack of policy and political will towards e-learning is also a big challenge because quickly governments and political regimes are under its way to be changed either within few days without completion of their required constitutional period. They are used to be switched from one party to the other. That's why, which I personally feel, there is a lack of political will and proper driving force for implementation of e-learning system or or digitalized system in the parliament. Lack of reliable digital access is also an issue, which is also evident as Lois may know. Day before yesterday, I was unable to join due to lack of that facility. Cybercrime, security, resource allocation, lack of knowledge and illiteracy, in addition to the poverty. These are the major challenges which we are suffering to adopt, which we have to face for the adoption of the digital system. And now I would like to conclude. As per my personal view, there are a lot of challenges in the way towards the digitalization. It will not only save the resources but also help in speed up the disposal of the essential work. Digitalization is essential for the competitiveness, representation, and an incentive to increase the ability to play a more significant role in legislative business of the country. The process which I had mentioned earlier is a so lengthy process, and on this side, working of the legislation branch is too much lengthy, and any bill which is introduced or going to be passed by the House, it is printed in the Gazette as well as placed before the member parliamentarians. Almost every time it is to be printed in 1000 copies of each document, which results into the wastage of, I personally feel, more than 10,000 papers for a single page amendment in the parliament. No doubt allocation or adoption of the digitalization will save the wastage of resources as well as it will save the time for expedite disposal of the business before the